Rodriguez, tonight, that suspension has been lifted. CBS 4's Summer Knowles is live in Miami Lakes with what happens now. Summer?
Elliot and Cynthia, hello. What happens now? That's a great question. And as a matter of fact, it was actually the big question out here on Main Street among residents who right now have two men claiming to be their rightful mayor and a legal system that seems to not have quite figured it all out yet.
My name is Michael Pizzi, and I am the mayor of the great, beautiful, wonderful town of Miami Lakes.
This was former Miami Lakes Mayor Michael Pizzi reclaiming his spot as mayor Monday after Governor Rick Scott lifted his suspension after a little prompting by the Florida Supreme Court. Pizzi, who was charged with accepting bribes from undercover FBI agents, was acquitted by a jury last month. But that wasn't before he was suspended from office and then replaced by Wayne Slayton, who was elected by voters during a special election.
It was completely ridiculous. I never should have been charged. I never should have been removed. And I should have been reinstated as mayor the day I was exonerated. So this is, I feel relief.
So now that Pizzi's suspension has been lifted, what happens now? Does he get his old job back? Well, the current Miami Lakes mayor says no and released this statement saying in part, "Once again, the court has recognized my election to mayor on 8/13 as the permanent mayor of the town of Miami Lakes until November of 2016. Governor Scott's executive order further supports the fact that pursuant to the special election, I am the mayor of the town of Miami Lakes. But residents and former residents aren't so sure.
I think it's crazy.
I guess technically he should get his old job back. How did he get acquitted, though?
It is very difficult. This is a very divided town.
Well, if it was up to you, if you had your say, what would you want to see happen as a resident?
I would like to see happen the best for the town. Whatever it is the best for the town, that's what I would like to see happen.
If the people want him.
Well, you're one of those people. What do you want?
I don't want him.
A lot of residents being very honest with us there. All right, so the governor, although he has lifted the suspension for Pizzi, he has not mandated that he be reinstated. And you heard earlier that the current mayor, he's not planning on going anywhere. So it seems like it's going to have to be sorted out through the court system. We'll certainly keep you posted on what happens. We're live in Miami Lakes. Summer Knowles, CBS 4 News Tonight.
Summer, thank you. New details.
Rick Fulbaum and CBS 4's Summer Knowles caught up with him. Summer.
Well, guys, as you know, the governor, he has been hinting for a while now that he may run for president. Today, he wrote on his Facebook page saying it's a possibility he's now exploring. And when I spoke with him today, he said after the holiday with his family, his next step is traveling around the country to kind of gauge how much support he would have if he were indeed to run for president.
Don't be afraid to shake things up.
Those words were offered to South Carolina graduates by former Florida Governor Jeb Bush during a commencement speech Monday. But after conversations with his family about his political future over the Thanksgiving holiday, Bush decided to shake things up a bit himself. The two-term governor thrusting himself into the national spotlight Tuesday with this post on his Facebook page. As a result of these conversations and thoughtful consideration of the kind of strong leadership I think America needs, I have decided to actively explore the possibility of running for president.
It's a decision that was family-based, and now I'm going to travel the country and see if the ideas that I believe in have relevance for people.
Well, I think one of the big strengths that Jeb brings to the table is he's got an enormous network of people.
But GOP consultant Rick Wilson says while his intellect, crossover appeal, and political experience are also major strengths, he has two major weaknesses. The fact he hasn't run a campaign in over a decade, but even more so, his stance on the Common Core, a set of academic standards put together by a bipartisan group of governors and promoted by President Obama. It's something conservative Republicans have a fundamental problem with.
The Common Core issue is one that Jeb has got to face. He's got to face it now.
A recent poll shows if the GOP primary was held today, Bush would finish second behind Mitt Romney. Some political experts believe his announcement is a signal to donors and staffers who are torn between him and Romney.
All the people that Jeb Bush locked in today were folks that Mitt Romney had locked in 2012. If he does get in the race, it's going to be something that I think is going to be really fun to watch.
You have to show your heart and persuade people what your beliefs are, and I think in our country right now we need a unifying message.
Now, as for when Governor Bush will make a formal decision and announcement, he would only say it would be later in 2015. So far, Bush has already announced he will release 250,000 emails from when he was governor and write an ebook. And next month, he will create a political action committee. Summer Knowles, CBS 4 News Tonight.
Summer, thank you. New tonight and as a prisoner in Cuba. CBS 4's Summer Knowles joins us live. Summer.
Well, Rick, there is certainly no doubt about it. Alan Gross is a changed man. His appearance certainly different from when he left. But despite his imprisonment in Cuba for the last 5 years, today he was upbeat and seemingly unbroken.
What a blessing it is to be a citizen of this country.
A thankful Alan Gross hours after being released from a Cuban prison where he had been held for 5 years. Gross, deemed Cuba's most high-profile prisoner, had been sentenced to 15 years, convicted for espionage after being caught on the island with communications equipment. This is Gross before, but this was him Wednesday, roughly 100 pounds lighter and missing 5 front teeth, but surprisingly upbeat and appreciative to his supporters and President Obama, who had been in secret negotiations with the Cuban government for more than a year to free him.
Thank you, President Obama, for everything that you have done. To all of those who tried to visit me but were unable to, thank you for trying. I'm at your service as soon as I get some new teeth.
The 65-year-old husband and father of 2 now at the center of a major moment in history. Almost immediately after his release came this from President Obama.
Today, the United States of America is changing its relationship with the people of Cuba. We will begin to normalize relations between our 2 countries.
Gross's freedom and emotional journey back to the U.S. captured on film. This is Gross with his wife before boarding a U.S. jet to head home, and the moment they crossed into U.S. airspace. He and his wife all smiles. And as he looked forward to celebrating his first Hanukkah with family in years, he offered this polite but stern request.
I ask that you respect my wishes for complete and total privacy. Claro?
Claro. Gross making it very clear in Spanish there. He wants and expects complete privacy moving forward. He obviously never expected to be a key figure in the changing of relations between the U.S. and Cuba, but that's certainly now what he has become. Summer Knowles, CBS 4 News Tonight.
Summer, thank you. And Chopper 4 over the...
Summer Knowles is live in Fort Lauderdale with the story for us. Summer?
Hi, guys. Well, we do have their mugshots. This is actually the suspect's girlfriend, and this is the suspect, Zachary Benjamins. And tonight, they are both being held here at the Broward County Jail. And, you know, in court earlier today, prosecutors basically described and laid out for a judge why they believe Benjamins hit these 2 little boys and kept on going. Meanwhile, the victim's family, tonight, they are just relieved arrests have finally been made.
If you see this vehicle, could you please call 493-TIPS?
After 2 weeks of handing out flyers desperately in search of the driver who hit 2 boys in Dania Beach and left them for dead on the road, finally a break in the case and an arrest. And it was thanks to this man, the owner of a Fort Lauderdale body shop, who heard about the hit and run, noticed the description of the vehicle involved was similar to the vehicle he was working on, and called police.
The description was very close. What they say was missing. Damage to the vehicle was substantial amount of damage to the vehicle, so the parts missing were the parts that we were missing.
Investigators say that information led them to 22-year-old Zachary Benjamins, who they believe was behind the wheel. His alleged victims, 8-year-old A.J. Brown and his big brother, 14-year-old Kelvron Florence. Little A.J. has since died from his injuries, and while Kelvron is still alive, his mother, Selena Brown, says his injuries are serious.
It's something he would like to tell me, because every time I look at him, he just constantly cry and try to talk. But by him having tubes in his mouth, he can't talk.
Although relieved an arrest has been made, Ms. Brown is still heartbroken with a lot of unanswered questions.
How could you just do this? How could you leave me and my family broken like this?
But in bond court Tuesday morning, she may have found some of the answers she and her family had been seeking.
He indicated that he'd been drinking that night. He left the scene. He knew the serious nature of the crime.
You apparently thought you were on probation out of California, so allegedly to save yourself, you were willing to leave this person for dead.
Benjamin's girlfriend, Anai Barbeto, has also now been arrested in connection with the hit and run and charged with insurance fraud, tampering with evidence, and accessory after the fact of a first-degree felony. And again, tonight they are both being held here, Barbato on a $7,000 bond. Meanwhile, her boyfriend, Zachary Benjamins, he is being held on a $350,000 bond. We're live in Fort Lauderdale. Summer Knowles, CBS 4 News Tonight.
Summer, thank you. Now at 11.